very good morning to everyone. This is Ajay Kumar from IMSK. This is totally going to be a very interesting topic, and we have a very interesting panel members also. I start up from Mr. Mario, the co-founder of Vincent Studio, and we have Mr. Aravind of Madras Games. Hello. And Mr. Vijay Srinivasan from CEO of Amplay Studios, and we have Mr. Joshua, the tech lead of Amplay Studios. Today, the topic is give you a brief understanding about the game development. Is one such platform that provides excellent career opportunities. Gaming is pushing the boundaries of entertainment by providing a total immersive experience across anything that has the scene. Considering these aspects, Immersive Skill Network community has come up with a virtual conference on gaming versus game development. This is the importance of a game development and address the significance of the gaming industry. This initiative taken by our community will help you to understand the vast career opportunities in gaming industries. So today we have a lot of interesting questions to ask our panel members, and here there is a chat option enabled with all the participants to throw all your questions relevant to gaming versus game development. You can, so that to reduce the disturbances, we will only myself as Ajay Kumar, I'll be raising the question to the panel members. You can drop all your questions in the chat so that I can ask that to the panel members. Before that, we have already collected some good numbers of questions. Let us start up today's session with that questions. How did your journey start in game development, and what inspired you to choose the game development as a career path? I would like to hear it from one by one from all the speakers, because everyone have a very interesting journey. I would like to hear it from one by one. Yeah, I start up with Mr. Joshua.
Hello, I'm Josh.
Hi, Mr. Joshua.
Hey, nice to meet you guys. So it's not the first thing that came to my mind back in the 90s when I started learning programming, right? I've been programming since my 6th grade. I finished my engineering in computer science. And then while I was doing computer science engineering, I was most interested in doing animation. So right after engineering, even though I got my placement, I didn't take my placement. I wanted to become an animator. So I went and told my parents that I wanted to pursue animation. During that time, they had less to zero exposure to animation or anything like that. So I thought of self-learned a lot of stuff, and I went to Mac, I think, for learning animation and VFX. I wanted to pursue in animations, and I was becoming an animator, but then I started missing coding because I'm a weird combination. I'm a programmer in mind, but an artist in my heart. So, I was sort of divided between both of these worlds, and most of the time my brain takes over. So I wanted to code most of the time. Then I sort of did game design in Vancouver Film School, and at that juncture, I found out that game development has this good mixture of art, design, and cutting edge technology in the same place. So I get to work on some of the art, even though I'm not an artist fully right now. I also work on the design part, and most of the time I do coding. So I'm very happy to be at this place and at this juncture right now. That's my journey so far.
That's a great journey, Mr. Josh. That's really great, and I think you are a artist come a coder. That's really great, actually,
yes.
To know about that. That's really great. Let's hear it from Mr. Aravind about his journey and his inspiration on game development. Yes, Mr. Aravind.
I started my game development journey when I first played Road Rush in Adyar. So there used to be a shop 20 years ago in Adyar called Zap. If you guys remember, if you guys know, some of you
wow,
know.
Wonderful game. I think no one will forget that. One of the kids 90, one of the best games ever. And now coming up with the 3D version also. Great.
So my journey started when I started playing in Zap 20 years ago, and then after that I was really good at programming right from school, and I want to learn game programming. I usually what kids do after finishing 12th standard. I did engineering, Sri Venkateshwara, 4 years. Actually, 5 years. I got dropped 1 year because of playing a lot of Counter Strike. and then I went and did my masters in game programming in UK. And after that, I worked in Mumbai for Train Games, my first job, and where I was making cricket games. They used to make cricket games for PC, PS3, Street Cricket, which used to be famous. And then I also worked on Ravan, which came in for PS3. And after that, I went to UK. Worked in a lot of companies doing AR, VR, Kinect, and other stuffs. Right now, after Madras Games, went back to AR, VR. Stayed there for 3 years or then back to gaming now. So
let's talk. Hear it from Mr. Mario. Yes, Mr. Mario, you'd like to hear it from.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Mario. You can call me as Roy. Till I write my public exams, and I don't know that I will be doing game development. So suddenly, when I was writing my public exams, I one thing made my mind sure that I don't want to join engineering. And my friend asked me how would it be if we work in Rockstar Games while we playing GTA San Andreas? So that question struck in my head when I was writing my public exam. So after that, I started search for the colleges who's available for game development in India, and I did my bachelor's there. Once I'm graduated out of the college, with my friend Dilip Arjun, who's also the co-founder of Reloading, we were doing premium iOS games, and now we are into fully hyper-casual games. We even recently launched a game called Rubber Band Cutting with the publisher called Crazy Labs, and we have 10 million users right now. So this was unplanned journey for me, and it was going well now. Yeah.
It was really great, and I also experienced your rubber band game. It was very nice. I request all the other participants also to try that. It was very nice. What is your parents said for the first time when you started that? Mom, Dad, I want to get into game development. And people ask you, what is game development? Now, I would like to hear from you, three of you. What is that? Yes, please go ahead.
My parents were extremely disappointed when right after engineering, I told I wanted to pursue animation. So they were like, what is animation? And then I had to explain all the animation. Then I told them I wanted to do game design in Vancouver Film School. They didn't understand. They said, when they heard the word film, they thought I was going to be an actor. They were like, are you going to be an actor? No, I'm not going to be an actor. I want to program, but I want to make video games. They were sort of disappointed during that time. But once my career path sort of picked up, they understood, okay, this is just like software development. It's just a different branch of software development. And once they saw that I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing and also getting paid for it, what I love to do. So they were fine with it. They made their peace with that concept of, okay, games is also a good part of stuff. And in some of my projects, I do work with Byju's. So when people hear the word Byju's and education, they're much more content with that. Of like, okay, he's doing something useful to the society, so it's fine. So,
that's really great. That's really great to know, Mr. George. Aravind, what about you? What is your parents' thought on you?
My father actually is more like a Santosh Subramaniam kind of father. So when I told him I'm going to do game development, game programming especially, he went before me. He usually does that. Before me, he went online. He searched all the courses. He found out the whole scope of the whole game development, and he had a document.
That's really great about your father.
So he was kind of convinced more than me. He knew a lot of information where which job and all those. So it wasn't a big problem for me. So he found out that there is scope for this field. So
I think he has done a good R&D on your.
Yeah, he did a lot of R&D.
I think that's really great.
Which I should have done, but he did for me.
That's really great. I mean, it's very great to know that. Okay, let us hear from Mario now.
Okay.
Mario, what is your You're running a company right now also.
So I passed out. I passed out at 2012 from my school, and like I wanted to be. I said to my parents that I wanted to be a game developer, like something that I want to do in game. But first of all, like I don't know, like how they make games. Then I started to research and like, okay, it has an art, it has programming. So I choose my own way according to my set of skills. So when I approached to my home and like say like they were like really freaked out. So I used to fight a lot with my mom and my relatives and like I stood in one leg that I need to be a game developer. And that's how I joined it. Now she's fine. Now she's happy.
Okay, that's really cool. And I think many of the students got a lot of insights from you three in this particular point. I think now they can find a way to convince their parents, or any of the parents also may be joining today's link. Even they can also get to know these answers about this thing. They also believe that gaming also has been a big career. Okay, let's like, what is the biggest misconception about game development? What do you think about that? Let me start with Mario itself because you're here. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
The biggest misconception of the game development is thinking that we game developers, our job is to just play games. Even like if I introduce myself that I have a game studio in Chennai, my relatives or anyone who is like not aware of our field, like they would think that I'm having a gaming cafe where people can come in and play games. So that's the first thing they have in their
That's
mind.
really bad then. Okay, okay. Yes, Mr. Arvind, over to you.
I have a slightly different point in this. Biggest misconception about game development is over. I see a lot of people coming and asking me, I want to make a game. I want to make a game. They'll have a lot of ideas and they want to make a game. And one thing I want to tell them is, if you really want to make a game, all the tools are already available online. You know. So what I'm trying to say is, if you really want to make a game, you can make a game yourself. So that is, if you read this question, misconception about gaming is if you want to make something, about game development is, if you really want to make a game, you can make it. You can make at least the basic prototype using the tools online. You don't need anyone else to make a game.
Great. Yes, we would like to hear from Joshua also. Yeah, Mr. Joshua.
So I have to completely agree with Mario. Whenever we say that we run a Hammer Play Studios, there are two things people would probably misconcept us for. Probably they'll be like, when they heard the word studio, right? They think we do some videography, some all the stuff. And the second one is, "Ungalku enappa, you guys play games all day." And like, to be honest, it's been a very long time since I actually played a game.
Yeah, it's been
We don't get to play games. Even if we do play games, we just study them. We sort of lose the magic in the games. Sometimes I regret actually taking game development. Now I can't enjoy my games. I like to see with the fresh eyes without breaking down the technical stuff between the games. But that's the common misconception that we usually get. The second one is, some people think, in lines with Arvind, some people think that story makes a game. That's also a big misconception. People tell you a huge narrative saying that this is a story that I have a super good concept, an idea to make games. Ideas are great, but they're also meaningless if you don't put it into action. So if you want to prove your idea, like Arvind said, there's already tools out there which are completely free for you to pick up. Unity is free, Godot is free, Blender is free. There's this bunch of tools that you can make quality games or even a prototype. Just to begin with, it's already free out there.
Mr. Neeraj, as one of our participants, has raised the question already by hearing your journeys and everything. Like, the question is, how much time did you took to make revenue from game after you started your journey in the game development? There's a question from Neeraj already. Yes, I would like to hear it from one by one. Yes, Mr. Arvind, you can answer this.
So yeah, how much revenue, I don't know. But when I made my revenue was like 4 years back. 5 years back. Yeah, 4-5 years back.
Yes, Mr. Vijay, can we hear it from you also? Like, can we have your thoughts?
See, as a company, we were pretty much rolling day one in terms of, I mean, we set up at a time where incidentally we had some business pipeline lined up, and of course the team sort of already took the lead on working on stuff. So in terms of when we started doing revenue, I would say day one probably, or month one.
Oh, okay,
But
great.
in terms of I mean, there are two ways of looking at this. One, making revenues from building your own products, what you typically call as game IP, and making revenues from the services business, where you say build games for external studios or other publishers. But in our case, I think the precise answer is month one.
Okay, great, great. What about you, Mario? When you created your first game?
We started with servicing, and like we have the cash flowing when we did servicing, but like currently, like this is the first game, like the rubber band cutting is the first game that we are generating revenue from our own IP. So it took like to get revenue from our own IP, it took like 5 years for me. You can make from the day one, like if you are more experienced, if you get some experience from a company like that, like because I just started the studio right after my graduation, so I learned a lot more. Like I did some mistakes and learned from that. So it took time for me. Yeah.
But you're giving a right path to many of the students here, maybe because you're driving them, like after their degree they can even start up their own company. Okay, let's move on with the next question. Like, what is the major difference you guys want to tell the students here between the gaming versus game development? What is the major difference?
It's the same as eating versus cooking.
It's the same as
Okay.
building. It's the same as building a cricket stadium and playing a game in this cricket stadium.
It's sort of nice and easy to eat food and critique about it. But put the guy in the kitchen, it's going to be difficult to cook the same food.
Okay, okay. I think it's a wonderful example that everyone can take it easily and easily understand also.
But if there are people who are serious into gaming, then that is also a good profession right now because of esports. It was always used to be a profession, but right now it's picking up, and it needs different set of skills.
Absolutely, it's an incredibly rewarding career. This sort of quote comes to my memory. Sort of some magazine or book I read years back. It talks about how rewarding the game career is. It sort of starts like the best job in the world after being an official subject in a massage school or an official taster of an ice cream factory. Next to that is going to be gaming. They sort of compare it with being an official taster of an ice cream factory, or let's say an official subject of a massage school, where you get pampered every day. I mean, it's a rewarding business, but it's just that you just need to lay the right foundation before you get there.
What about your thought, Mario, on this game development versus gaming? Yeah,
One thing I would say is this, like the game development is about bringing an artistic mind and a logical mind together, the process to make a game. So that's the one thing I need to add on.
Okay, now let's move forward for our next question. How different are the skill set required for a game developer when you compare to a gamer?
For a game developer, a lot of different streams, but for a gamer, has to be like a reflex, like different games. No, a reflex is micro. I'm a gamer. I'm basically a gamer. Microing ability is a reflex, and what else? And is team play. It's more like a game. Esports I'm talking about. Esports is more like any other sports. What all skills you need to play a sports? You need same kind of skills, same kind of skills to play esports. So
yes, Mr. Josh, can we hear it from you?
What are the skills that's required for you to be a gamer and a game developer? So a game developer, basically you need to be either an artist, a designer, or a programmer. So that's the broad category I could probably give as a game developer. You can have a combination of the skills, and that can give you a huge advantage in game development. If you're a designer and a programmer, that actually helps a lot. And if you're an artist and a programmer, it even helps a lot. You would be considered as a technical artist. So as a gamer, that's a completely different path if you want to take. So
Okay.
you want to have a good streaming computer, by the way, if you want to have a Twitch account, and you need to have some really good Twitch skills or reflex if you want to play an FPS game. And if you are playing an RTS or a strategy game, you might have to have a faster mind to play that. So those are like games where you, just like any other sports, you have to develop those set of skills to be a good gamer.
Let's talk a little bit deep. Like, what are the different roles in gaming industry? What are the different roles in the gaming industry? This is a very common question. I would like to all the CEOs to answer this question, because there is one more question relevant to that in chat also from our participants. Can a game designer in a company, if it is a fresher, can apply?
Sure. I mean, see, plenty of roles. In fact, the industry has evolved and matured so much that you're looking at multiple subdomains and roles that never existed when we all started. I mean, typically, if you go back in time, it was just a game developer or a game programmer that used to be the only position where they used to be. I mean, the typical indie setup, right, where the same man would probably wear multiple hats and do all the stuff. But as the business progressed and evolved down the line, you are now looking at a much mature setup when it comes to studios. But looking at broadly, you can be an artist. Again, subdomains exist in art as well. You can be a 2D artist, you can be an animator, you can be a 3D artist, a 3D animator, and so on and so forth. Same roles exist within programming too, that I'm pretty sure Josh can highlight. But again, broadly speaking, you can be a gameplay programmer, physics programmer, graphics engineer. Again, depending on what the studio produces as their games. But usually, it's going to be called as game programming or game developer broadly. See, design is going to be an incredibly, to be honest, it's going to be an incredibly complex role, because you are basically carrying the whole weight of the game on your shoulders, and you need to be, in fact, you need to be good at identifying what is fun,
Can I
translating.
jump in?
Yeah, sure, absolutely, go ahead.
So designer is basically the job of crafting experiences.
Absolutely.
So you just craft an experience. So you can craft any experience. You can have fun, you can be funny, you can be scary, you can make a horror game, but these are experiences what the end user feels, right? So you have to start with what experience you want to give the user and then translate back from there. So when you play the old school Mario game, right? Those are very simple mechanics, but each of them craft that experience with fun. So in general cases, I see designers telling stories or just an idea that, okay, this game looked cool and this game looked cool, so let's make a game like this. So that's an idea, but when you want to translate those ideas, those are underlying or mechanics. So in mechanics, if you break it down, it's mathematics. And beyond that, you have to craft experiences. So this sort of range between a programmer, a mathematician, and somebody who crafts experience. So a designer role is very abstract, and at the same time, it's one of the most important roles you can find. It's very hard to come across good designers.
Can we say this game designer is the heart of the human body? I think that is a right
call
word to
him,
use,
call him or call her a wizard. I know it's
Yeah.
wizardry at the end of the day. You need to definitely weave that magic, understanding user experiences, user psychology. I think a lot of it can happen when you derive real life experiences, because sometimes we also tend to stick to a certain constrained format where we only look at things from a pigeonhole. If you look at the best designers in the world that we all have sort of seen when we grew up, they usually derive their inspirations from real life. They live life. They look at things and then they derive it. They translate it into whatever experiences they build. Like Josh rightly put, it's something that you are able to envision. Because see, you can call a designer, give him the vision, because ideas are dime a dozen. I can generate an idea. You could call a designer and tell him that, you know what, I want to build a first-person shooter meeting Mario, meeting Pilot Wings. It's just a absurd one-liner I could give a designer. But taking in that vision, translating that to a fundamentally working,
Writing
call
game.
it a proof of concept, and being able to translate that into a moving imagery or a gameplay in this case, where the designer needs to work with an artist, with a programmer, with whosoever it is in the team, with excellent cross-functional communication skills, and then portraying that final experience on the screen is nothing short of magic.
Okay, great. Thanks for a very detailed insight, Mr. Vijay.
So I
Let's
think
move
like
forward.
I would add something.
Please, Mario.
These are the roles like we have in the production side of the game development, and like we also have game data analysts and game data scientists, like to currently with the mobile gaming trend, like these roles play a major part equally to the production side. So game
Yeah,
analyst, game
absolutely. I think
development. Yeah.
analytics is a huge domain. I think Roy rightly said that, because you're not looking at sub-domains, right? I think go ahead, Roy. I think those are roles that I think you should definitely highlight.
Yeah, these are the roles like anyone can look on, even the students can look on. There are these roles available, and like there are a lot more requirements here in India for these roles.
In fact, someone good at statistics can be part of the design team. He doesn't need to be the frontline designer, but then someone who's able to assess, dismantle data, analytics and statistics. They are part of large studios too these days, because at the end of the day, a lot of these large publishers are looking constantly at data to come up with their next hit.
Let's move a little bit in deep on what is the difference between game development versus software development. I would like to raise this question to Josh and Aravind, because you guys, yes, please go ahead, Josh.
Okay, the basics are the same. So if you want to be a developer or a software engineer, your core should be the same. So for starters, you should be very good at OOPS, basically. So learning programming is like learning alphabets of anything. So you can know ABCD, but does making alphabets make you a programmer? Not really. So it's like being a poet and knowing the alphabets. So coding is basically poetry, where you use these words to convey something or create something. So in my analogy, people get caught up in tech most of the time. They'll be like, I'm a C++ programmer, I'm a C#, I don't know anything other than C#. I've been only working with Unity, and actually it doesn't matter. If you're a programmer, you can pick up any language, any engine, and still do it, because the concepts and the basics never change usually, most of the cases.
I think the answer which you're giving right now, I think you're inviting all the computer science students to the gaming world. Actually.
Yes, they can. So if you have a computer science background, you shouldn't be very hard to pick up any game engine or any programming concept and adapt quickly. So that's exactly what I'm going for, in fact. So software engineer, I could say, is more of okay, game development is software engineering, but software engineering is not game development. So game development has this other branches that convey and converge along with it. Say art and design goes hand in hand. So if you want making a WhatsApp app or a messaging app, you wouldn't ever worry about 2D animations or 3D animations or 3D characters inside at this point. But gaming always will be in the cutting edge technology. So when I say cutting edge technology, when a new hardware comes in, right, say Intel or AMD, anyone produces a processor, the first thing they would do is test it to the game. Why do they do it? Because games usually push technology even further. So AR, VR, everything that you see, even AI for this matter, right? AI been doing this for a very long time. Only now people are catching up to machine learning and all those concepts. But these concepts were applied back in gaming very long back. So that would be the probable difference between a software engineer and a game developer. The tools are always the same.
I think many of the software, some computer science background and IT background, now I think they got a bright vision and they have a clear path what they can also come into gaming. It's really great explanation. Yes, Mr. Arvind, we would like to hear from you also.
Game development Game development is actually a part
Software
of software development. So
Hmm.
it's just software development with more maths and making it interactive. It's just that with the same set of tools, with same set of rules, like as he said, oops, and all those rules are all the same in game development and software development, but little bit more interactive and more interesting with a bit of more maths. So that is the difference between software development and game development. Yeah. And one more thing he said is all the languages are all the same. If you know Unity, you can easily jump over to Unreal. Or if you know Unity, or if you know Maya, you can easily jump over to Blender. So everything is just the same. Just the name is different. So you don't have to worry about different names and different softwares. Everything is just the same. Underlying rules are all the same for software development and game development.
Okay. Like moving forward, like our next question will be like, what are the gaming companies in India? And what are the very big games made in India? Anyone can. Like, I would like to take it from Roy this time. Roy, it's you.
We have many big companies like it started in late 90s. We have Ubisoft, EA Games, and even now we have Rockstar Games in India. And and we also have like more than like 250 gaming companies in India, like in Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, and Hyderabad, and even in Chennai. The famous Ludo thing is made from India, and like we have a World Cricket Championship that was made in the heart of Chennai, a studio called Next Day Multimedia. And we also have like small indie groups who are like passionate in making games, and like they invest their own money to make something, some AAA style of games, Overhead Studios, who made a game called Asura, and the Nodding Head Games. Everyone would probably know these people, like the developers of Raji, which got more attention to the game industry from the Westerners, and now they're like small teams like started to work on the mythological character culture of our Indian, and so the future of this industry is going good, and like it will flourish. Yeah.
Okay. That is like, what about Tamil Nadu? What are the gaming companies in Tamil Nadu? Can you name someone?
Yeah, as I said before, like we have Hammer Play here, we have Chennai Games.
Yes, Mr. Vijay from Hammer Play. Yes.
And we have Next Day Multimedia, who are the largest developer, the biggest developer here in India, who make cricket games. And we have more like 25 game companies in Tamil Nadu, and like we have game companies even in Madurai, Coimbatore.
So I think the students have a multiple. I mean, they can choose the state and they can choose the company. Their options are there. Okay, that's really great. That's really great to know. Well, then one of the students wants to know, like, what is your favorite game genre? What is your favorite game genre? Yeah, he wants to know your favorite game genre.
My favorite game genre is puzzle, actually. Puzzle and
okay.
action adventure. So these two games.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. So,
I think many of the students also are the favorite for us in here. That's really great. Okay, there are some 12 students also here. So this is a common question again to everyone. What is the subjects or what is the guidance would you give them to come into this career game, in this gaming as a career? What will you guide them? Because these are 12 students. They can either they have been going to start the 12th or they are just cross 12. What is the choice? What is the career choice you'll be making for them in this career? So I'll start with Vijay.
I think nothing special, to be honest. If someone is preparing themselves for a computer science or a software engineering background, for example, which most students do these days, once they, or let's say when they're on the verge of finishing their class 12, I don't know, just add a hint of creativity on top. Where things get interesting is when you see with software programming. I mean, like Josh and Arvind even highlighted, with programming, things are largely going to be the same. It's just that you need to bring in those additional layers on top. If you are able to prepare yourself for a software engineering career, you can very well prepare yourself for a game development career. I think it's just a question of adding those layers on top. In terms of other functions, like we discussed about design or art, that's where things get even more interesting, because there you've got to probably exhibit a lot more artistic and design skills. It's very tricky to sort of pinpoint to a certain course or a certain book. You're looking at an industry where people have been largely self-taught, and with the resources that is out there currently on the internet, which is abundant, it is not challenging for anyone to prepare themselves for a game artist or a designer role, provided they are able to put in that dedication and effort. I would say use institutions as an ancillary sort of a purpose. I don't really need to primarily depend on them. It could be a contrary advice for some, but if you are able to harness the power of internet, you know that you have a certain level of self-discipline. You should be able to self-learn yourself, and then probably use some amount of external resources as and when needed. I think that should broadly put things in perspective.
Okay, really great. Thanks, Mr. Vijay. Can I hear it from Mario on this?
If you are in confused state, like whether you could go into a game art or game design or development, I would say if you are very good at maths, physics, and programming, you can obviously, without any doubts, like you can go for programming. Yeah, I have like good in drawing skills and everything. Like you choose game design or game art. So that's one thing.
Okay.
I think like the Vijay has covered.
Yeah. Okay. Great. This question is for Vijay. What is the salary package in gaming studios as going on currently for the freshers till experienced people? Because a lot of students are here from, so I think most of them want to know about the freshers package.
If you have to be honest, I'm not sure if we have reached a point where there is an industry standard like IT.
Okay.
I think the other panel members can correct me if I'm wrong. This has been depending on the studio's line of business and what they're able to, shell out in terms of the salary or the compensation structures. But to give an idea, if you are looking to, maybe we can even highlight something from our end. So typically we look at internships, from Hammer Play, where it's basically a 6 months paid internship. So typically someone entering the industry as an intern across, let's say, game programming or game art, can draw a stipend of about 15 to 20,000 rupees a month.
Okay.
This is what your IT industry or other industries would call as a fresher. I think we don't really use that term. We rather give them a role when they begin with. Fresher sort of puts them in a very sort of a low light. I think internship is a good way to begin, where you are able to simultaneously learn and work and still make some compensation at the end of the day. As you grow the ladder, I think it all depends on the sort of value you bring to the table. Now, this is where I'm saying it depends on the studio's perspective on how they should compensate the resources. It could be in a combination of fixed and variable pay. It could involve bonuses based on a certain milestones you hit from your existing assignments or games. And it could also probably have or combine some amount of stock options, that you can explore down the line.
That is similar to your answer. Like there is one question came up. They want to know how do you filter the candidates? I mean, because there is question from the candidate only. He wants to know if he's a game programmer, how do you find he's a right programmer for your company?
No, I think there isn't a different process. I think we as an industry follow. Globally speaking, we look at the right attitude. In fact, attitude is the number one deciding factor for anyone to enter the business, regardless of their role. Even if he or she is an intern, we evaluate attitude. When I say attitude, it's the general way someone carries themselves, the sort of appetite they show for the work, the sort of interest they show, how grounded and how humble they are, how eager are they to learn, would all sum up the general attitude part. Beyond that, there is always a way to give them a technical test. I think, for example, Josh can highlight what sort of technical assessments we do when it comes to looking at game programmers or game designers for that matter. Similarly, game artists, when they want to apply as an artist, the number one thing we would want to see is their portfolio. We don't want to hear stories. We don't want to see resumes. Again, contrary to other industries. But the fact of the matter is, resumes can always exaggerate someone's potential. What we would like to see is what they have done at the end of the day. If it's a programmer, we would like to see a working prototype or a demo of any game they have built. It could be a snippet of a game. It could be a small mechanics. If it's an artist, we would like to see the visuals they have done, concept art. It could be characters, illustrations, even napkin sketches for that matter, exhibiting that they are able to put some amount of skill on the table. That's the potential part. We look at potential. We see that, okay, he or she has a certain percentage or amount of potential. We will be able to absorb them in, probably, sort of train them over the course of time. When I say training, it's not that we put them on a dedicated training pad. It is just that when we give them the right amount of exposure and work, they'll be able to, learn quickly, adapt to the situation, and then eventually become a professional developer or an artist. But this is what we expect when it comes to applying for a certain role.
Okay, that's great. What about you, Mr. Arvind? Can you throw some light on this?
Yeah, as he said, I'm looking for a programmer. For a programmer, we are looking for a portfolio. Only for a portfolio, somebody with a portfolio to see. Other than that, we're not looking for. There's nothing else to judge a person. Nothing else to judge a person who was inside, who was looking for a job in a game development.
For the programmers, I think most of the programmers know their programming skills. They are familiar with their programming skills, and what I'm currently missing in all of the portfolios I get from the resumes from the students is even if it's not a full game, at least one unique mechanic with cubes or spheres, that's enough. With a different set of mechanics, if you have a lot of mechanics in your portfolio, it would be very interesting for us if I want to take you in as a gameplay programmer.
I haven't seen someone with just mechanics. I would like to see someone with just mechanics in their portfolio.
Yeah. Just a single mechanic. Even if you want to replicate a mechanic from a game, that would be better.
I haven't come across someone who was excited with the mechanic and want to replicate that mechanic.
Actually, there is a big question mark from all the students is how to present them to the companies. First of all, that is a bigger question mark. They don't know how to present them because they're coming with a normal resume. Yes, Mr. Joshua, please come out. Yes.
So I usually see so many entries per day. There are some professional rules that you guys need to follow. First, learn how to write a proper email. Have a professional email address.
Do not write to us in the email ID that says darkknight123@gmail.com.
Yes,
that doesn't work actually.
And some people don't have body or don't have even the subject for an email what they're applying for, and they don't give docx as the resume. Convert it to a PDF and then send it. These are basic rules of professionally applying for any job. This doesn't apply for gaming
Actually, Mr.
industry.
Vijay and Joshua, we thought you will be telling something bigger one, but you
Yes,
end up with a very basic problem.
Yes.
No. In
Yeah,
fact,
it's
we have
very,
even
very
written a
important
blog
one.
about it. In
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
if you
No,
because
no,
blog,
it's
we've
a-
the
written
moment
about,
you see something like this, right, you don't even want to open their email.
No,
Because
I literally agree with you. I literally agree with you. Please go
because,
ahead. Please go ahead.
because if you're not going to take it professionally seriously, why should we? So that's the first part that comes. That sort of shows that attitude toward applying a job. That means you're not taking things seriously. Like this partly comes from a schoolish background or a college background. Even when we were in a college, we were writing lingos, but when we started going to a corporate company somewhere, then they told you do not write emails like this. You cannot put shorthand, say hi, you are, or something like that. You have to write some proper statements. So that being basically covered, you can run your email through Grammarly and make sure it's Grammarly. That's an optional part at this point. Okay, I'm not demanding more than that. So that's the professional area that you guys need to cover. The second one is, like I said, a portfolio. We don't care much about your entire history of what you aggregated in scores and what university you went through, because we see so many things at this time, and most of the time we don't even remember all of them. So we say go for that mechanic or one gameplay or something that you already put, and that would be more than enough for us to get their attention. This is for programmers. And if you're an artist, there's more steps I can actually give you. If you have an ArtStation account, that would be much better than you are sending through a PDF or a Word docs and pasting those files inside. Don't attach all the artwork that you've done in an email. That wouldn't serve much purpose. Put it in ArtStation. There are much more professional sites out there. The third most advice that I can give you is stop putting college assignments inside your ArtStation. So when you guys apply to us from a college, right, most of the work will be more the same, because somebody would have said, okay, this is a courtroom. And I saw like courtrooms from all of the students, like 15 students, I saw the same courtroom. I'm like, how am I supposed to judge this? Because this is an assignment by the end of the day. So that's don't put all your learning process. Okay. Even if you're putting one or two, make sure that's the best work. Show your best work forward, then all of the work. We don't gauge people by quantity. We gauge people by quality. So even if you put one image or two images that you have done perfectly, or and if you're submitting a 3D model, make sure there's a wireframe of it, because we worry about the topology of the model rather than the entire render and the texturing of the model, right? So these are the basic stuff they'd look for. Best work first. Quantity doesn't matter. Sometimes artists just apply for everything. They'll be like, this is my concept art division, this is my character art stuff, and this is my this. So I'm confused what I'm supposed to hire you for right now, because you're everything now.
So you want them to specify very clearly with a clear note, so that you can able to judge them very properly.
Yes.
One more I would like to add is for programmers. I'm sorry.
Yes,
sorry. Yeah, for
yes,
programmers, there is no need for a website or something which you need to apply, which you need. Okay. It's just a few drive links you can throw in.
I would advise the programmers to
have a
start as
GitHub.
a professional. Have a GitHub.
Have a GitHub push panni, pull panni.
Yeah, I mean those are basic stuff that we expect from a programmer, right?
For all the panel members. Yeah. And one last question, we'll end by this question to today's session, is like, what is the future? Where we are heading to in gaming, as a game development or gaming, or you say whatever things relevant to this field in this sector, where we are heading to? What is our future in India to the global also? I would like to hear from all the panel members. I'll start from Mr. Vijay.
I think we asked ourselves this question when we started the journey, that what's going to be the future. Being very honest, I don't know is the answer. I don't think the industry has ever proceeded in a direction keeping a certain future milestone in place.
Okay.
But there it came. In the next 2-3 years, there it came. iPhone was
Okay.
introduced. Android fell in place, and then
Okay.
suddenly we are now looking at a whole new ecosystem. I think there was a
Hmm.
huge. This question was a lot more relevant before the smartphone era, because when you were a developer back in 2005 or 6, Josh would agree with me that PC on console was the only segment you could have ever uh, remotely worked on, and that was very
Okay.
challenging because you never had a market. India, at least now, we some of our studios here, we're able to solely survive just keeping the India market in picture. It was
Okay.
impossible. It was impossible 15 years back. So I
Okay.
think this we got to agree to the fact that this is a fast-moving landscape. Things tend to evolve and change very much on a daily, on a monthly basis. To be precise, and I think there isn't a certain milestone that you can look at as far as the future holds. Only thing I could broadly end saying, entertainment business isn't going to die because people need their entertainment at the end of the day, which is why the streaming business is thriving. The two businesses which really peaked when we had the original intense lockdown, it was one streaming and it was two gaming, because people
Okay.
had to resort to entertainment at the end of the day, because people unfortunately go through a stressful life in their personal lives. So they have to resort to entertainment, and entertainment isn't going to die anytime.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Mr. Arvind? What is your thought on this future of gaming?
Yeah, it's obviously gonna boom because we're gonna have more lockdowns and yeah, people are gonna play. So
Okay.
Adrala gaming is gonna boom and esports is gonna boom again. Esports is gonna become big because people have from I mean people have started getting internet and esports. I'm very hopeful and waiting for esports to boom. Esports gaming, not game
Okay.
development, gaming to boom.
Yes, Mr. Joshua.
So on the process, if gaming is booming, I'm pretty sure there's a huge requirement for game development as well. So especially we can see this new emerging platforms that we haven't even had a clue back then. So to be honest, we haven't directly put any game in Play Store or Android as per our studios, but we work with so many other platforms that have this publishing stuff going on, and they have this huge demand for developers at this point. If you
Okay.
can say MPL being one of them or MX being one of them, these are like completely new platforms that are like
Okay.
having millions of users per day. So the other general advice I would probably give is you do know you do not know what platforms evolve and how they evolve. So adaptability is one of your key strength in this development moving forward, because things change so fast, so quickly. So you need to adapt to newer technologies and newer platforms as you survive or make your career out of games. So
Thanks. Thank you for your thought and showing us the future in different way. Yes, Mario.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear it
So
from you.
yeah, the future in India, it's booming. I would say before, like it was like very few studios, and I now see I see a lot more studios coming in India. They have started to make the next gen games, as you said. As George said, like there are many platforms called MX, NPL. There are a lot more platforms available in India as well, and uh, and outside of India, I would say the gaming industry, they are as the 5G internet is coming, there'll be a lot more opportunities for multiplayer game studios in the game industry, and everyone is concentrating on the cloud gaming market. Like maybe the VR could take in there. So that's one thing. So we'll be moving on to the next phase of the gaming industry, I think in 10 years. So the opportunities are more, and like probably the industry is going very well in India as well. So
Mr. Vijay, you want to add up anything?
I think the past whatever years that all of us have survived in this business, I think Josh and I have, I've already finished over a decade. I think I've finished about 16 years in the business. If someone's able to cross a decade and survive in the business, I think the future should be fine.
yeah.
Okay. That's really great. And from on behalf of IMSK, I'm thanking all our panel members, and on behalf of all our friends, students, parents, and everyone, I'm thanking Mr. Vijay, Aravind, Joshua, and Mario for taking up a valuable time on this weekend and spending us and giving us this wonderful insights about various informations. And I really thank all the participants also to on this Saturday spending your valuable time with us with this 1 hour to get to know about gaming and all the other things sectors in detail. And we will stay tuned, and we will looking forward for a lot of webinars to come up from IMSK. And thank you all for joining us today in today's session. And it was really great pleasure to have you as panel members for today's session, Mr. Joshua, Mr. Aravind, and Mr. Vijay and Mario. And we request all the participants to join us with Telegram, their Discord, and Facebook to get latest information, to clear all your queries instantly, and to solve all your doubts based on gaming. And whatever the questions, you can drop in Telegram, Discord to get the answers immediately from the experts and to get the instant answers for that. So all the participants are requested to join us in Telegram, get the updated information about our next webinar. Shortly, we'll be putting up there. Thank you all. Have a great day. Thank you.